Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the combo guard running the two, Jacob the White Knight. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing well for a Monday. That's all I got to say. How about you, brother?
I'm doing well, man. It is this Monday with good slate of games. And not only Jacob, but we have LT the Sage. He's running the three at the wing. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to go over some of these Monday night games. I see some gems already, so I can't ready to go.
All right, before we get into this episode in particular, what we're going to talk about is obviously some recent news on top of the games that are going on, just like what LT says. And there was a listener that mentioned, since this is kind of more geared towards the Dynasty format, I'll leave it for the clutch shot on a player that I think would be interest of you listeners out there, and it's going to be Brandon Clarke for you Dynasty format lovers. And I'll kind of give you guys a quick breakdown on him during the clutch shot. But before we get to that, I'm ready to take people on for a ride. So I'll go ahead and pass you the ball. Jacob, you got some news here for us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. So first, we're going to go over Kawhi Leonard. His load management's getting a little bit too ridiculous for my liking. He's going to miss his third straight game. Now, they're saying that he has a left knee contusion. He had an MRI, and it revealed nothing. So basically, the Clippers are giving him some serious kid gloves, and it feels like they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that he doesn't play, which is a huge bummer for his fantasy owners. And the Clippers themselves aren't very high in the standings. The last time I checked, I think they were 7th or 8th. So it's a little bit of a weird situation. I know Starks, we talked about he might get more rest at the end of the season due to the Clippers probably going to be like the 1 or 2 seed. But at this rate, it doesn't look like they're going to have that luxury. So I'm wondering, I'm going to pass the ball to you. What's your thoughts on the situation?
I think it's a bad thing for fantasy owners. And I know there's a lot of people, as I mentioned last episode, that there's a lot of people that are really frustrated as owners in particular, but you kind of knew what you signed up for. I mean, I didn't think it would be like this, especially, of course, an NBA player is going to say, oh, I'm going to be playing most of the games and I'm going to be out there. And you can't always believe in what a player says, unfortunately. I mean, it's going to always be kind of about the coach and how the injury actually formulates. So in that aspect, it is unfortunate. He's going to miss more time. I think it's safe to say. I'll pass you the ball there, LT. I got nothing else there.
Not too much other than Paul George owners. This is music to their ears. Seeing Kawhi out, waiting so long for Paul George to come back, that just means Paul George is going to put the team on to be the primary scorer and ball handler more than likely. So that's just good for Paul George owners. I mean, like I said last episode, he is who we thought he was, and we're going to go from there.
Absolutely. Those are some good points. Now, to move on to other news, we're going to talk about Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. Both are questionable to play on Tuesday. Now, Lonzo Ball is has missed 5 straight games, or it will be 5 straight games if he doesn't play on Tuesday. And Brandon Ingram has missed the last couple. He's been doubtful. He's missed, so I don't know how serious both of these injuries are. It's a little bit scary for fantasy owners. I've been asked personally if they should hold on, if they shouldn't, if they should try to trade. So I'm going to pass the ball to you, to LT. Are you worried about Lonzo and or Ingram? And do you think they play tomorrow? Do you think they sit them out? What do you think, brother?
Yeah, so I think they play. I know Brandon Ingram, some reports were coming out that he was gearing up. He was getting back ready for game shape recently. So Lonzo Ball's injury, I haven't heard too many updates about his injury, to be honest. So I'm not too sure. But I do think they play. The guys are young. They haven't played. I think Lonzo Ball hasn't played since the 8th, and Brandon Ingram hasn't played since the 9th. So we're coming up on about 10 days here. So I think they do play. Of course, they'll come back and play at full strength against my team, the Blazers. That's pretty much the only reason why I know that I'm pretty sure they'll be back. So hold them in fantasy. They're a hold. There's especially Brandon Ingram with his uptick in production. What do you think, Starks?
Yeah.
I think there's no need to really rush them just because, I mean, they're not really a good team so far this year. Not only that, I mean, another thing that keeps in mind is Alexander Walker. It seems like he's doing a little bit better right now currently as well. He's been on a cold streak, but now things are looking a little bit better. With them in particular, they are, 4-9 this year, 5th. I mean, of course they need the help, but as I think they're still playing it safe. It almost feels like maybe Lonzo Ball could have been back. So maybe they sit out another game, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're back next game. So as far as that goes, it's going to be a nice sight to see. I just want to see them all healthy with Zion Williamson. I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Absolutely, Starks. I was just thinking that, it's going to be a beautiful day. Sometime in December, we should get everyone fully healthy. And even if they aren't, at least we'll have Zion there healthy, and that's gonna be a fun show for sure. So we're gonna move on to the last piece of news here, and this is for Kyrie Irving. He's gonna miss his second consecutive game. Ooh. Hopefully, we're not saying his 7th consecutive game here in a minute. He's going to miss the 2nd consecutive game on Monday against the Pacers. So it says that Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be drawing another start, and I'm looking for him to get some huge minutes tonight. And so it's a bummer for a Nets team that's already sort of depleted with Karis LeVert. He's already missing 4 to 6 weeks, and it was a curious decision. I'm going to pass you the ball here, Starks. When Karis LeVert went down, they also sent down Rodion Kurucs, which was a curious move. Just weird that they sent him down at the same time they put him on the IR, and then Kyrie Irving's hurt. I'm not sure if they called him up in the meantime, but this is a little bit of a concerning news for Kyrie Irving owners. I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's a really odd move, needless to say, especially moving the guy of Krusty the Clown, what I like to call him, Rodion Kurucs.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that he's sent down there, but I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, obviously, with Karis LeVert being out, and then Kyrie being out, which is really odd as well with the shoulder. But I mean, if you remember, Jacob, we talked about it before this season about the Prince of All Saints, Taurean Prince, because it's what player is going to basically improve in that aspect, because we always, at least we were talking about, man, if they go down, someone has to populate. And unfortunately, we're early in the season, they've already got hurt, right? But let me say this, the guy that I've been talking about in the Dynasty format when I was going ISO solo, I don't think you guys were on, a guy I want to see is Musa. And I forgot how to pronounce his first name, D. Musa. But he's a guy that I'm interested in a Dynasty format. He needs to get more playing time, right? And I don't know, what team is it? Is it, if you could go actually scroll down to the stats a little bit there, LT. But as far as Musa goes, I think he can be a solid contributor for those people in a deep format. And that's what I want. That's exactly why I wanted to just skim down real quick. We'll touch up on the games, but before we touch up on the games, is Musa needs to be starting. I'm getting tired of seeing Legends of the Hidden Temple on there. Shirley Temple, Garrett Temple. I'm tired of him starting. Just go ahead and let the young talent play, because at this point in time, Brooklyn is not the best team out there. So you might as well just run some of the youth out there. But I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
Nah, I didn't have much to add to that. Kyrie is pivotal part of that team, and so hopefully he can come back. He's also a pivotal part of one of my fantasy teams. So hopefully he can come back pretty soon here. But that's all I got, brothers. I'll pass the rock back over to you, White Knight.
Absolutely. So that is all the news we got for tonight. I'm going to pass the ball right back to you, LT, so we can transition into these games tonight.
Yeah, and just to do a smooth operator move over here, we're going to transition right into that Indiana Pacers Brooklyn Nets game. The Nets actually lost, not surprisingly, 86 to the Pacers 115. And I'm going to actually pass the rock over to Starks for his Pacers team here. I got these numbers and everything pulled up here. Anything sticks out to you as far as the Pacers tonight?
Man, I'm gonna say this. Domantas Sabonis, your guy. Like he's been doing really well this season. You know, really under the radar in particular. But obviously, as you know, I'm going to talk about Warren G. T.J. Warren.
Mhm.
Although he was inefficient, you know, he did jack up the ball. He pumped up the volume, but he did score 19 points. He got a steal, 6 rebounds, and the thing is about him, I thought he was going to take more 3-point shot attempts this year because last year he was taking a lot more versus last year. But, you know, kind of going into, you know, Aaron Holiday, the Holidays, Holiday Inn Express, two of those guys, like they both came in starting in this game in particular. You know, 13 assists, man. So if you streamed in one of the Holidays and you hit the right one with the 24 points, that's a massive line there of Aaron Holiday. And, you know, Justin Holiday had a pretty solid game too. So both the Holidays took you into the Holiday Inn, right? So, and then one more person I want to talk about. I'm not going to juice the orange on Miles Turner. He didn't really even do anything too much this game. But going down is Goga. He's just another guy that I hopefully in the Dynasty format you guys are accustomed to. I'm sure you are because I talk about him a lot. But one guy I definitely want to talk about is Naz Maruchu Long. This is another guy that can formulate in a Dynasty format if you give time. And honestly, see, Indiana is it's like they have all these pieces, right? But you're just going to be like, you know, what's going to happen with this team? And this comes on the heels of Malcolm in the Middle Brogdon not playing this game. Obviously, Victor Oladipo didn't play this game. So this team, as LT probably doesn't want to stomach, I mean, he admitted it, Indiana's a good team this year. So this is going to be a nice treat. And obviously, this comes also on the heels of Jeremy Lamb being out, right? So just imagine what this team is going to look like when all the starters are in. I'll pass you the ball, Jacob.
Yeah, so really quick, I wanted to touch up on, I usually have Justin Holiday on all of my streaming lists that we put out weekly, just for his floor of getting you a couple steals. Now he's getting all the minutes that he can handle with all the injuries that you said, Stark. So if you are in need of a streaming guy for as long as those guys are out or any one of those guys are out, I would definitely look his way if you're looking for some steals and efficiency. So definitely look his way. If we want to transition over to the net side of the ball, man, there's just some ugly stat lines all the way. I do want to give props to Spencer Dinwiddie, my boy from CU Boulder, go Buff. You know what I'm saying? Like he did exactly what he had to do with Irving out. So I mean, love to see it. 8 assists, got 28 points. I mean, I love seeing that. So I'm going to pass the ball to you, LT. What did you see?
Yeah, so I was actually pretty upset because when I saw Irving wasn't out, I was expecting my man Joe Harris to have a follow-up game from his last game. He had a crazy good game last game. I thought maybe he finally made that turn. Perfect opportunity this game, and he didn't cash in. Only got you 7 points, 1 block, but only 2 rebounds. It's just not a good line. No one really had a really good line except for Dinwiddie. And I keep doing that. Dinwiddie, and then I'm not too sure as far as the Nets are concerned if they don't have Irving or Karis LeVert, how viable they are. So hopefully those guys can come back and be healthy so that the team can produce a little bit better. But that's all I have for the Nets, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't got nothing else. You guys covered it. But real quick, just Claxton, hopefully as a Dynasty format, he might get some time if Brooklyn continues to get pretty bad during the season. Hopefully they don't, but potential. But I'll pass you back the ball there, LT.
All right, yeah. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. And I think the next game, I'm actually going to take a quick ISO rant on this next one. It was Charlotte against Toronto, and Charlotte loses 96 to Toronto's 132. Toronto bodies them. Jeez. And then what I wanted to go ahead and talk about is Toronto. My guy, OG Anunoby, the OG, the original Hey, man, 10 for 13. We had a little bit of scare, fantasy owners out there. It looks like Batum with those long elbows hit OG in his eye, the same eye that he just got back from, and he went down for a little bit, but he came right back. 10 for 13, 4 snipes, 5 rebounds, 2 swipes. I love to see it. I love to see those stock stats from him. 24 points. Actually leading the way for the team as far as points is concerned. That is such a good sign to see. Of course, this is on the heels of a couple injuries. No Lauri, no Ibaka, but they still put up 132 points. So that's beautiful to see. And again, I got to go talk about my guy Siakam, 7 for 14, 3 snipes, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. This is a low-end stat line for him. Just the reality of Pascal this year, and he's looking great as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bounce past it over to White Knight. Anything on Toronto you wanted to see?
Yeah, so I wanted to touch up on the streaming options that I put on our list for the Raptors and Hornets here. First, on the Raptors, I recommended Chris Boucher. He only got 18 minutes, but he finally had a bounce-back game. He had a double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 1 steal, and a snipe there. So I was actually asked by a listener recently after his string of 2 bad games. He was like, do I just cut him for X? And I said, why don't you give him one more game? He has way too much potential for you to just drop him straight up, unless you're in a bind and you need to stream, because this was on Sunday, and it's, like Sundays are a pivotal matchup. So if you need a specific streaming category, go ahead. But if you could wait. So in limited minutes, he got the job done, which is nice to see. And then on the Hornets side of the ball, I had Malik Monk after his torrid streak of a few games. And, he had, if you streamed him, you're like, okay, this is an all right game, like 7 points, 3 assists, three boards, not very efficient, and no snipes. So I don't know if he's coming down to earth, and I'm actually gonna pass the ball to you there, Starks, because I know that Monk's your boy here. So I want to see what your thoughts are on Monk and all of the kids there in Charlotte.
Oh man, well, thanks for juicing the orange up on Bobby Boucher, Chris Boucher, because that's the guy I wanted to hold regardless. I got some similar questions about dropping him, but anyways, getting back to the Monk here. This seems about right. He's going to be inconsistent, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is, but the glimmer of light here is, although he only got 22 minutes, it's still a decent amount of minutes from what he was accustomed to getting. And this also still comes on the heels of Nicholas Batum coming back, right? So getting the 22 minutes versus like the 12 to 15-minute games that he's been stringing all year, although he was inefficient, he didn't hit any snipes, he got you still 3 assists, right? And 7 points, you're right. It's, as Jacob would say, ho-hum stats. But this was still a game that at least if you could take any light from this, if you're in a deep format, I still would try to hold on to him. But honestly, in a shallow league, he's just still a streaming option. I think there is better days to come in that aspect. And I'll pass you the ball there, LT, if you want to touch up on anybody in Charlotte there, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Dwayne Bacon has just the Baconator, our guy. He's all the way at the bottom. That's it. So if you have him, go ahead and cut him, and definitely in 10-man leagues, but 12-man leagues, maybe even 14-man leagues. There's probably someone out there on the waiver wire that's probably just a little bit better than Dwayne Bacon. He started off hot, but I guess the bacon cooked a little too long in the frying pan. So, it burned. So, and that's about it. That's all I had. Charlotte didn't have the greatest of games, but you still had some pretty good, strong showings from Devontae Graham. Still kept his minutes up pretty high with everybody else. He's the real deal in Charlotte. I know we talked about Malik Monk a little bit, but in those redraft leagues, if you have Devontae Graham, he's a hold and a ride candidate right now. You just ride him until the wheels fall off at this present moment. But other than that, that's all I got.
Let me steal the ball real quick again on Toronto's side, if you don't mind. So,
yes, sir.
Juicing the orange up just a little bit longer on Boucher is Toronto thump. I mean, just like we see Toronto thump Charlotte. Like, just let the upside get minutes. Like, he got 18 minutes. It's pretty good. Right. He could have got 24, 26 minutes. Just let him play. You got Terrence Davis getting more minutes. You got RSJ, right? Dave Hollister getting more minutes than him, right? So it's just like for what? I mean, RSJ is a good player, to be fair. Yeah. Well, he's a decent player to be fair, but come on, man, let Chris Boucher go ahead and get those minutes. But I'll pass you back the ball there, LT, to the next game.
Bro. Definitely. We're gonna move on to the next game here. I'm just gonna ignore that Blazers game because yuck. All right, so Cleveland against the Knicks, and I'm gonna go do another ISO rant on this one. I know there's a guy on Cleveland side that you guys want to talk about, but the Cleveland loses 105-123. New York wins this one, and I gotta go ahead and go to my guy Julius Randle. He had a game and a half, 12 for 17. Now, when Julius Randle's efficient, you know something wrong with your defense. 12 for 17, 3 snipes, 3 for 5 from the charity. You'll take it. 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Even got you some stock stats. That's not his calling card, but even got you two swipes and 1 swat with 30 points. He had a game and a half. The curious case of Fizdale starts Taj Gibson again. Don't know what's going on. Don't know about that. Mitch Robinson again. Ooh. Mitch Robinson playing off the bench, 16 minutes off the bench. I don't know if he's still. I don't understand it. I don't know if he's still ouchie.
He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
This is the fizz pop.
Yeah, man.
Fizz pop.
It's the fizz
special.
Pop. Yeah.
Well, the last thing I wanted to state is that Frankie got to start again and played played 29 minutes. So it looks like Fizz has found his favorites, and for some odd reason, Taj Mahal. I see you shaking your head up there. Taj Mahal.
I'm with you. I'm just tired of this Fizz Pop. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna switch. I'm a bullet pass it to you, Starks. How you feel about Fizz Pop and Mitch Robinson, man?
I just want to take this pop and throw it right back at him for this. I mean, just like Mitch Robinson, and you're giving the L's to Mitch Robinson and DSJ. I'm tired of it, man. Like, listen, just what are you doing? Like, you know what? He's gonna feel good about this game. This is what sucks too, because they won this game, right? And winning this, they won this game. So Fizz is like, oh yes, I know what I'm doing right now. So if I just bring DSJ and I get Mitch Robinson off the bench, we're good to go. I'm just tired of it, man. I'll leave it there. So if we can actually, but before I go further here, did you want to touch up on anything here, Jacob, on the Knicks side? Because I want to juice the orange on someone on the Cleveland here in a minute.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. On the Knicks side, the only thing that I have to say is that Nito Aquina is still seeing those high minutes. Yeah. So he's going to be a nice streamer for you. Keep riding that wave until Fizz pops him up, So he's getting those minutes, and he's efficient. He's getting those assists. He's getting you that steal. He's getting you some points. So, I mean, as long as he is starting and getting those high minutes, feel free to stream him wherever if you are in need of some stock stats. Other than that, it's pretty much a ho-hum for everyone else that wasn't touched up on. So I'll pass the ball right back to you, Starks.
Oh man, thanks, man. It just Fizz. Yeah, let's get to the Cleveland side, and obviously I'm going to juice this orange a little bit. I'm pretty sure LT knew where I was aiming at. Kevin Porter Jr. I'm sure for the listeners, I've been talking about this guy like all year, just because in the Dynasty format, the potential that he could be. Now, this comes on the heels of Kevin Love sitting out this game. But honestly, Cleveland being such a wasteland team potentially this year, if they continue to lose, he's a guy that I would like to have on my team. The little bit of upside that he had, he was 6 for 11, 3 snipes, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 18 points. Now, like again, if you're in a deeper format, honestly, you're probably going to still, as Jacob would say, have him on your watch list. But if you're able to be a little bit aggressive in a deep format, then potentially just take a flyer on him. He's still probably more watchful because of Kevin Love should be ready for the next game, right? But in a Dynasty format, oh, man, it's unfortunate because I've been saying to keep trying to buy him or maybe look at and consider and poach him from your owner. This game in particular, it's not some amazing game, but I think the talent is potentially there from in Cleveland because Cedi Osman is not fitting the bill like I thought last year that he would, and Osman is not doing anything. the Wizard of Osman, right? He's not doing anything. So, Dorothy didn't really get to him his justice this year. So I will at least say this. Now, Triscuits or biscuits, Tristan Thompson. Now, this is one thing I will mention. Zizic is finally back. Now, this looks like a realistic game from Tristan Thompson, right? But honestly, they got thumped this game. So I got to be fair to Cleveland. And so it's going to take a long time for Tristan Thompson to kind of disappear after all of these good games that he's had. But it is good glimmer of light to see Zizic back. So with Zizic back, I want to see how Thompson and Zizic bounces back forth value. And I'll pass you the ball there, LT, on this game.
Oh yeah. To be honest, that you touch up, I knew you wanted to touch up on KPJ. You've been juicing that orange for a while now, and you kept talking about him. I was like, man, he look. I mean, okay, I'll keep my eye out, and then he pops up heavy on this game. Just the fact of what he did without Kevin Love shows you that with the uncertainty of Kevin Love maybe getting traded, you may be an investment piece you want to look into, even in redraft formats. He may see 31, big minutes if Love gets traded. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'll pass the rock over to you, White Knight, if you have any updates on this Cleveland one.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys did a great job on touching up on everyone. Really quickly, I was expecting big games from Jordan Clarkson and Cedi Osman just because Kevin Love was out, and none really delivered a huge game. It was fairly efficient, but Cedi Osman, you can officially panic, and there's no reason to buy him. If you need a hot free agent or streamer in a 10, 12-man league, go ahead, please. Because as you can see on the bench here, Alfonso McKinney, he got 30 minutes tonight. And that was a new addition to their team recently. They just picked him up, and they're giving him huge minutes over Osman. So he's definitely a name to look out for to see if he can continue this trend and to see where his minutes are next game. Because I'm curious if he keeps taking minutes from Cedi Osman. He's definitely a guy that you want to keep on your watch list as a possible future streamer or a deep league ad. That's all I got to say. I'm going to pass the ball back to you, LT.
Let me steal the ball real quick.
Go
also,
ahead.
I just saw also put another name out there in Cleveland. You don't see him on the bench at all. I think he's in the G League right now. But Dylan Windler is another guy to keep in mind in Cleveland as well that I think the listeners should know about in the Dynasty format. But go ahead, LT.
No, that's perfect news. And for some odd reason, I think I saw Brandon Knight play 12 minutes tonight on Cleveland. I can't be the Brandon Knight that I know. There's no way he's still playing basketball. So
I thought that whole side. I thought Deontay Jordan he killed him with that dunk, right?
Yeah.
He's still feeling it, man.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought it was the Kyrie cross that killed him. Which one was it?
Oh, man. He's been killed a few times. My goodness, Brandon Knight.
The Knight of Armor. I don't know why he's still even in the league anymore. Anyways, we're gonna switch over to Milwaukee against Chicago, and Milwaukee comes out with the W, 115 over Chicago's 101. And I am going to ISO rant just real quick. Wesley Matthews, okay? So 17 minutes. Wesley Snipes. Well. Someone sniped him. 17 minutes, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He had 1 steal. He had a pretty bad game. I don't understand what's going on. He was doing so good with his value, and now a couple games in a row he's really taken a hit. But the one guy I want to talk about, I know the listeners are like, oh, he's going to talk about Greek Freak again. No, I'm actually talking about Brook the Rook Lopez, 5 for 11, 1 for 5. Listen, only 5 threes. I'm proud of you, Brook Lopez. Guess what? 8 for 9 from the charity. Yeah. And then guess what? You didn't take not all your shots were threes. You probably were under the basket. You get 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and guess what? You're under the basket more. Guess what? You're blocking shots too. 5 blocks for 19 points on the night.
Oh, man.
The Rook Lopez, please, I beg of you, get under the basket more. Don't fall in love with the three-pointer, and make sure you get that value back for listeners who picked you up with a pretty high ADP this past year. I'm gonna bounce past the rock over to White Knight. What you think about Milwaukee?
Yeah, so I want to touch up on 2 streamers that I recommended on the Bucks here. Now, one was great and one was awful, and you touched up on the awful, and I have to be honest with you guys. I had Wesley Matthews as my last ranked streamer, and I will be honest, I almost knocked him out because he has been struggling, but they had a great schedule. Middleton's out, so I thought, why not? I will add him in right there at the bottom, and he's done. He should be dropped in 30-team leagues. There is nothing left in the tank. Feel free to move on. Don't read that on my streaming list currently and take that as word, because he's done. I don't trust him at all. He did get you 1 steal. You can hang your hat on that and have a day. And see you later, Wesley. One stream that I got right was George Hill, and he was this is Stark's boy right here, Curious George Hill here. He was my 8th ranked streamer, and he had himself a game. He had 27 minutes, efficient 5 for 9, 4 snipes, 4 for 4 at the charity stripe, 4 rebounds, no assists, unfortunately, but 18 points. I mean, he had himself a great game, and he was a great streaming option for those of you who took the plunge, and so. Very, very, very proud of that stream, but I'm going to pass the ball there to you, Stark, because you look like you want that ball. Rub it in his face a little bit.
Why are they deploying him as a 6th man, man? Like he's like the de facto six man on the Milwaukee right now, man.
Hey, man, you just man. You know what's even funnier though? I wish my information on my side would be working, because I would lay out some facts to just convince you, LT, how good he's doing this year. But anyways, I won't juice the orange too much, because Jacob did such a great job in that aspect. But if you could scroll up a little bit, LT, on the guy I didn't mention also is Dante DiVincenzo. It's just a guy that, obviously with Malcolm in the middle. Well, he's not Malcolm in the middle. I guess you could say Middleton as well. He was a guy that I mentioned that you could probably snag and see what happens. Now, he had a decent game, 15 points, a few assists and some snipes there. But, in particular, he's not going to always have these outings in particular, but it's still stats if you need in a deeper format to grab and pretty much just pack and play with the type of guy in particular. Sterling Brown had got some minutes, but, yeah, Curious George Hill, he had a good game. So let's go ahead and go to the Chicago side, unless you got something to touch up on there, LT.
Nah, everyone. Pat Connaughton still continues not to get heavy minutes, and he had 12 tonight, but didn't do anything with them. So that's sad to see. But we're gonna go ahead and switch over to the Chicago side, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and do a little top up pass to White Knight on Chicago. I didn't know if there's someone here that you wanted to talk on or speak about.
I thought you were going to set me up on my boy Lauri.
Oh no! I mean, to be honest, I didn't see this. I didn't even see the shots. So
he had an absolutely awful game. I don't know if the Bucks just clamped him up or if his obliques hurting, but yeah, he had a struggle at the game. I'm still going to juice that orange. If you can buy him low, buy him low. Please, guys, just go out and get him. Especially after this game, if I was an owner, I'd be like, please, somebody offer me a trade. So I would jump on that. Personally, I don't know what my fellow colleagues think of that, but I'm still a fan here. And it's great to see Kobe White. He's still getting those minutes, 25 minutes. Inefficient as all, but he's shooting it. Pump up the volume, right, Starks? I mean,
that's right.
He's shooting that ball. He's getting those minutes. He's getting it over. He's getting those minutes over Satoransky. So he got 3 snipes, three boards, 3 assists, and 1 steal. And then a popular streamer of mine that I will always harp on and say that he's widely available and always solid for a steal or two is Chris Dunn. If you want a cheap steal or two, always stream him. He got 25 minutes, which he doesn't usually get that many minutes, but even in 18 to 22 minutes, he'll get you a steal or two. He had a great game, though. 8 points, 9 assists, 6 boards, a steal, and 2 blocks. So love seeing that from a guy who's usually available in your league. So with that, I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks. There is a Dynasty dandy that I know you are top to talk about. So I'll give it to you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was chomping at the bit for Daniel Gafford here. I actually even tweeted about it earlier. This guy's for real. It's just about Chicago and the front court there. It's going to be tough to get plucked into that lineup, in particular because of Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. But if you give this guy opportunity, he's going to flourish. And look what he did in 20 minutes, right? 10 for 12, very efficient. 5 rebounds, if I'm looking at that right. 2 blocks and 21 points. So this guy, honestly, I've been saying it before the season started. I'm telling you, I think maybe even the preseason when I was doing this podcast before getting you guys on, I was just like, man, I just want him at the end of my bench somehow in the deep dynasty format because talent will somehow rise to, wouldn't say to the top, but sometimes talent will be in the scraps. But I think this talent in particular with Chicago's 4-10 record, maybe he gets the opportunity this year to get a little bit more minutes in the rotation because this guy's the real deal. And I just don't like to see players that are buried in the bench per se. And he's not buried, but to at least get this opportunity, it's a nice light to see. And then you touching up on Kobe White in particular, I think that was good. He's pumping up the volume in that aspect. I won't touch up. You covered him really well. So I will say this about Chris Dunn. It just kind of goes back to the guard situation. That musical chair game, Chicago, that's why I did not want to draft Thomas Satoransky on any of my teams. So I'll pass you the ball, LT, if there's anything else you want to say on that.
No, that's all I have on they started Chandler Hutchison again. That's pretty much that's all I got. That's all I got. That's all you need to that's all you need to see. I'm going to switch over to the next game here, and I can't believe I'm going to click on this game. We're gonna click on this Portland Houston game. And I'm gonna do a solo ISO rant real quick.
Do it.
Just go full head.
I'm not even gonna touch up on Portland right now, but I'm gonna do a solo ISO rant. I gotta do my ceremonial Harden ISO rant. 33 minutes, 11 for 19. He actually was efficient. That's a once in a lifetime. 5 for 10 in the snipe category. Okay, all right, that's not bad. Free throws, 9 for 10. That's actually not that bad. Looks like we decided not to hack a Harden, which doesn't work. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block for 36 points. He had a game and a half. One thing I wanted to touch up because my guy, that's right. I got streamers going. House Party is back.
There you go.
House Party is back, and guess what? Guess what presents he brought to the house party? 3 swipes. Okay, that's what I like to see on the comeback. Welcome back, House Party. 4 assists, 6 rebounds. This is the big one. 34 minutes on his game back. That means that he's ready to rock and roll. 3 snipes. My gosh, that's beautiful stats. Those are the stuff he was doing before his injury, and it's just so good. Yes, right, Starks, drink it in. That was so good for what he did. So that's beautiful to see. I'm gonna chest pass it over to Starks. Did you have anything on Houston you wanted to touch on?
No, it looks like Ben McLemore had himself a bad game, but hey, he still got 26 minutes, right? So that's something beautiful to see. Inefficient. He did get you to 6 rebounds. In particular, now, Hartenstein, this is another guy. I'm always going to touch up on guys like what if guys, because if them what if guys pop, then that's what's going to be an exciting thing to see. Chris Clemens, I mean, we kind of figured that, with Russell Westbrook back, he wasn't going to get the minutes. But Isaiah Hartenstein is a guy that you can maybe look at in a deep dynasty format. He could be a streaming choice in a dynasty format because he is a pretty good player. Yeah. But, obviously Clint Capella was out last game. He's back now. He's not somebody to get excited about, but he's just a name to look at. I'll pass you the ball there, White Knight, if you want to touch up on them or convert over to the Portland side.
Really quick, and I want to pass the ball out. Pass the ball right back to you on Hartenstein. Do you think he's only worth a stream when Tyson Chandler has to rest, or do you think he's a solid deep dynasty stream, just in general, just for those for those boards and blocks?
Yeah, well, Tyson Chicken Wings, as LT would say, it's going to be more of, it would have to be a very deep dynasty league to consider him for them boards and blocks. And I'm sorry, I'm losing bad reception here. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just kind of say it like this. I'm only in the hopes of if Clint Capella is out, or maybe, let's just say, it's sad to think of this. Like, I hope Portland is not this bad, but if you're going against a certain team, like who's a really bad team, say for instance, you're going against the Pelicans, or someone is going to warrant a lot of points to, that's like a poor team, then and Tyson Chicken Wings is not playing, yes, then at that time, Jacob, I would take the risk to stream the Isaiah Hartenstein at that point in time.
Right on. Yeah. I just wanted to get that clarification for us. So I want to transition over to the Blazer side of the ball and to touch up on the streamers that I had chosen for this week. I actually chose 3 Blazers this week: Nasir Little, Kent Bazemore, and Rodney Hood. Now, my number 1 streamer was Kent Bazemore, based on schedule and just based on opportunity. He only got 21 minutes tonight, but in those 21 minutes, he pumped up the volume, as Starks would say. 14 shots, he made 2 snipes, 4 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 11 points. So if you started out your week with that, you're pretty happy there with your streamer. And I honestly wouldn't cut bait yet, because he still has 3 great games left to go. So if you can hold on to him after the streaming match, I would. Next, I want to go to Rodney Hood. He didn't have such a good game, but he got those minutes. He got 32 minutes. He got you a snipe, an assist, 2 steals, and 5 points. So, it wasn't a great game, but it was a streaming okay game. And then right to Nasir Little, who is everyone in deep dynasties like favorite guy right now. He is returning on that gamble you made late. You either added him in deep leagues or you took a shot on him early, hoping that he would get these minutes. Well, now he's starting. He's getting these minutes. He got you 29 minutes tonight. He shot 10 times. Got you 7 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 11 points. And we all know that the coach loves him and he wants to give him some more minutes. Now, I am hoping, and all of you guys can hope with me, that Carmelo doesn't cap his ceiling. That's the only thing I'm worried about with Carmelo coming. He's going to cap all these guys' fantasy ceilings. Now, it may help the Blazers. It may help give them a little spark, like in real life. But in fantasy, it's going to put a little bit of a dent. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on if you are an Anthony Simons owner, if you are a Little owner. So keep an eye out on that. And I believe I'm going to pass the ball there to you, LT, on anything else. But I believe LT he starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he's going to be playing tomorrow. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else on your Blazers team that you wanted to go over?
Man, yeah, I'm gonna try to get my feelings out of it, because I want to say a couple of things, but I'm gonna try to stay fantasy relevant. Nasir Little, as I told you guys, he got over that 25-minute threshold and he produced 1 swipe, 7 rebounds. The free throws, I'm a little worried. I think he was middle of the ground of a free throw shooter in college, so hopefully he can keep that closer to a 75-80% free throws. He only got 50 tonight, but that's something I am going to be looking at for the cap his fantasy ceiling. But he took 4 snipes, missed all 4 of them. He's usually good for at least 1 or 2 snipes a game out of that 4. So I'm not too worried about this line. He's a little inefficient, but I really like his prospect. And the reason why I like his prospect, and this is going to be switching a little bit over into just game flow and what's good for Portland, he's a very good defender, and so because he's a good defender, he's going to get minutes in the rotation as he continues to progress, get more better, more acclimated with that starting unit with Dame and with CJ. He's just a good defender, and that's something we were lacking earlier on in the season. We didn't. Rodney Hood, I mean, he's a good scorer, but he's not a good defender. And so him with Whiteside, I think he's gonna continue to see minutes even when Melo comes back. I don't think Melo's gonna hurt Nazir because Nazir is not really a potent scorer. I think Carmelo might hurt Hood and Bazemore more just because their role on the team is primarily to try to score points. So I think Carmelo could hurt them in that aspect. But other than that, Tolliver's back to getting 3 minutes a game. Thank you. And Anthony and Kent are your main guys off the bench. If you got those two guys as a waiver, or Anthony Simons, if you have him in Dynasty as well, you're happy to see it. So I'll pass the rock, or I'll go ahead and lob the ball up to Stark, see if he had any insight.
No, I'll go ahead and grab the ball and pass it right back to you to go to the next game. You guys did well on that one. All
right, perfect. So the next game that's close to being finished, I believe, is the San Antonio-Dallas game. Let me just make sure. Yeah, San Antonio-Dallas, it's in the fourth quarter. I'm going to go ahead and quickly get over that. 2 minutes left. San Antonio is losing right now to Dallas, 107-113. And this is an off-topic question, Starks and White Knight, but do you think the Spurs are a middle-of-the-road to bottom-barrel team this year?
Yeah, I think that this time in particular is a little early still in the season, and I think they'll improve as the season. I mean, I just only think of that because of Popovich, and somehow he finds a way to get his team in the playoffs. It's going to be a little bit tougher. I will say that it's easy for me to say, yeah, they'll make the playoffs just because of all these years. But, honestly, LT, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit just because of I just don't. I just, it's really tough. It's almost like I don't want. It's like it's easy for me to say yes, they're going to make the playoffs, but honestly, I just don't. If you keep starting Trey Lyles, I don't know. I got that, and then Brian Forbes out there, and gosh,
Forbes 100, right?
Yeah.
But no, what's your thoughts, Jacob, man?
Yeah, they're definitely a middle of the pack team. So much so that there were rumors that they were thinking about trading DeRozan. I don't know if you guys heard those rumors, but the Magic were interested in acquiring his services about a week ago because the Spurs were struggling. But I believe it's not that serious yet. But I think that the rest of the league is seeing this too and is trying to poach a few players off of them to see if they want to do a fire sale. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on for sure. So I wanted to start it up by talking about one of my streamers this week on the Spurs here. I chose Fatty Mills. He got 25 minutes tonight. He got you 2 snipes. He got you a rebound and 9 points. Now, usually he's good for at least 1 or 2 assists and 1 or 2 steals, which is why I liked him as a streamer. But you like to see those snipes, and I'm sure you'll take it if you were able, if you had to stream them tonight. And I'm going to pass the ball to you there, LT. What else did you see on the Spurs or the Mavs side?
Yeah, just to kind of just follow up with what you guys said. Yeah, I think they're a middle-of-the-road team, and that's why I wanted to bring that up for fantasy purposes. There's a lot of trade candidates for San Antonio Spurs. Thanks for bringing that up, White Knight. So that's something for you owners to take a look at and think about. DeRozan had himself the most DeRozan line I've ever seen in my life. 14 for 20, no threes and no 3 attempts. 8 for 8 from the charity, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, 1 swipe, and 36 points. That is a DeRozan. That's a good line, but that's a DeRozan line. Doesn't get you no 3-pointers. And as Luka Doncic just makes it 3, you might as well transition over to Dallas side of the play. Luka. I'm a highlight reel. I'm a spectacular pass it over to you, Starks. What do you feel about Luka and what he's doing, man? This is crazy.
Yeah, like I said, this year I didn't think he was going to be hot like this year. I thought he was going to be like this next year. So for him to already break the walls down doing it this year is something special. This guy is something different in the NBA in particular. What is this? A triple double with 42 points almost? Or no, he is a triple double. So and this game is still going on. This is crazy, man. I'll say it like this: if for anybody in the Dynasty format, you are feeling so good in your heart right now. And I know, Jacob, you have him in a Dynasty format.
Yes,
and
sir.
I can only imagine how good you feel on the inside because you're going to have him for the long run. And that's how you got to do it in a Dynasty format. So let me just go on an ISO here real quick when it comes to Dynasty formats where people get so excited for getting the new toy. I'm going to tell you like this. If you pay a premium on a player, you better make sure, and especially if they're a young player, you better make sure that they're going to be good because if they're not, it's going to hurt your value as far as your team goes. And honestly, Luka, I was a little concerned just last year because it's like, I know he can make a step forward, but I didn't know if it was going to be this year because his percentages were so poor last year. Now, I expected a nice bump up this year, but I didn't see it at this extent. And honestly, for those in redraft leagues, I think you honestly cut a coupon unless you were just aggressively drafting him in the first round because he was going around, I think, the 25 to 27 range. And honestly, he's a top 10 talent, at this point in time. And honestly, he could be a top 5 talent this year before it's all said and done. I wouldn't be surprised for what he's doing this year. So he's capitalizing on that. So, yeah, definitely got to love him. Now, Porzingis here. I will pass you the ball back, LT, and then you could do a hot pass to Jacob. I know Porzingis, you got him in one-year leagues. What's your thoughts on him right now?
Yeah, so Porzingis, he took some load management, had a bad game after that load management day. But this is actually a line that I'm not too I prefer. I like it. I like the not as efficient as I want him to be. 2 for 4 from charity. He's usually pretty good from the charity stripe, so it might be just a little bit off. But he had 4 snipes tonight, so that's a little bit of a plus. 10 rebounds. Get you a double-double in those double-double, triple-double leagues we spoke about, those rare gems out there in the fantasy world. And then no steals and no blocks. So that's the thing that you want to see. You want to see him consistently getting at least 1 to 2 blocks a game. He got 0. I'm almost okay with that, with the rebounds and snipes. Okay with him kind of not getting any blocks tonight, but he's one of those players where like I stated before, he'll be good in the second half. I think he'll get progressively better and more consistent. That's the main thing as the season goes on, for sure. That's pretty much all I had on that. I'll do a hot pass over to White Knight. Any updates on the Dallas side?
Yeah, so I wanted to touch up on another streamer of mine, Dorian Finney-Smith. He is widely available in every league, and he had himself a lovely game to say. I mean, 8 for 10, 3 snipes, 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 22 points. I mean, that was a great matchup, and he's starting. So, I mean, all the stuff. I mean, it's all
35 minutes, man.
In 35 minutes. I mean, like, that's nothing to sniff at. He's going to get those minutes, and everyone's healthy right now. Like Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, everyone's healthy. So it's not like this is an outlier. The Mavericks trust him for his defense. Now, he's not going to be this good every game, but he's going to get you some stock stats. He's going to be efficient. He's not going to hurt you. He's only going to help you. So he's a solid streaming option, especially if you streamed him tonight. I mean, you are grinning from ear to ear, as LT would say. So, I mean, that's all I got here from the Mavs side. Actually, I have a quick question for both of you guys. I've been getting questions on whether to drop DeLon Wright, and I've been telling people to stay patient because he is a talent. He's getting minutes as he did tonight. Now he's not pumping up the volume as much as people want, but he's still getting some stock stats, and the Mavs love him. So, he got you tonight 1 steal and 2 blocks, and then he got you 5 boards and assists. He only got you 4 points, but I still say to hold on to him in 10 in 10-man leagues and 12-man leagues. In 14-man leagues, I say you can probably cut bait for a hot free agent, but I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's been a disappointment this year so far for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was about to say, I thought you were going to say keeping him on a 10 to 12-man league. I honestly like, probably cutting him, but I think that you said that you were off on him in 10, 12, 14-man leagues. Is that correct?
I'm off of him on 10-man leagues, but I'm keeping him in 12-man leagues. That's just me, though. I'm going to wait and see. Unless there's a hot free agent, but I'm going to wait and see if there's.
Sure. So in a 12-man league, and it is going to be tough, I think I may hold on to him too as well, just because of the out-of-position stats for his position as a guard. Exactly. He gets those hustle stats. Right. That's very valuable in a 9-cat category league. And honestly, you could keep it valuable in a points league too. Now, as far as like pumping up the volume, I knew that he's not that type of player in particular. So if some fantasy owners expected that, sorry to say, that's not who he is, right? But to get those steals and blocks, again, that is valuable. I am a little surprised that he was potentially supposed to be the starter, right, for this team. Right. But, hey, it is what it is. Maxi Kleber is a solid player, so it's going to just be him, the 6- and 7-man, rotation. But honestly, Dallas has a lot of good players here, right? And that's even including J.J. Barea that wasn't even in this game. But that's just something to keep in mind. This team is it's low-key deep. And then Jalen Brunson is not a bad player either. So I'll go ahead and I think this is all the games here. Is that correct so far?
Yeah, that's pretty much. There's some games that are still ongoing. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to touch this. Boston games is pretty much a barn burner. But we got this Minnesota-Utah. We could quickly touch up on that real quick. It's in the fourth quarter if you want to. That's up to you guys.
Yeah. We could jump into that because I was gonna say as you call him layman's terms. I think he got hurt and he had to go out the rest of the game.
No.
That was one of your streamers, wasn't it?
Right. Yep. And as you can see, he was having an alright game. 6 points, a block, a board, in only just under 14 minutes. I mean, that's a bummer. I mean, if he would probably have like 24, 25 minutes. He would have had you a solid game. At least he got you that block, which is nice. But that's a bummer that he got hurt because he was on fire. So if that turns out to be anything serious, I'm going to pass the ball back to you there, Starks. Do you see anyone on the bench there that you would like to stream if he's out? If he's out, sorry.
No, you're fine. No, I was just going to still say it's either, Jared Culver's ice cream, as LT would say, or Josh Okogie, just guys that I definitely like to see as like streamers if they don't start in particular in more of a shallow league dynasty formats. I'm sure Culver's ice cream is not available. Maybe even Josh Okogie. We won't hold too much time on this game in particular because I know it's still going on here. So, Timekeeper, what are we looking at here?
All right, we're looking at that beep 57. We're at 57 right now, right under that 1 hour.
Ooh, perfect. So what we'll do is we're going to get into the clutch shots, but let me go ahead and hit you guys with a commercial. And the clutch shot, like I said, will be on the Dynasty Outlook or the future of Brandon Clarke. But if you guys can check out the site, newlifefantasy.com, make sure you join the mailing list. As you can see there, just click in your email, submit it. You're in there like swimwear. That's so old to say, and that must be like an old dad joke, right? And then also you could join the mailing list. I just said that. Just join as a member on the newlifefantasy.com. It must be late in Ohio, right? And then at the same time, make sure you guys subscribe to Take a Ride podcast, write a review, give us a 5-star rating. It helps us to keep the lights on, right? Also, the YouTube channel that LT is pushing out, he's putting the hard work behind that. Make sure you guys Sub-Zero at the bottom. Subscribe that button at the bottom on YouTube. Make sure you put a thumbs up. Type in a comment below. It definitely helps us out. And honestly, just because of the comment that we got recently, I am going to touch up on a Dynasty Outlook on a player in the future just because we got a comment below here from a listener. Mm-hmm. So we thank you for that. It's really appreciated. And honestly, we're coming out of fast-paced offense to give you guys that daily content that we're working hard to do. Just like Jacob, he is putting a lot of hard work in these articles, especially the blogs and the streaming options available. And then what we're going to probably do here on every Sundays, get you guys prepped up and give you that punch for the week on waiver wire and potential streaming options that you guys should be accustomed to. So I will pass you the ball there, Jacob, the White Knight. Do you have a clutch shot for the listeners, brother?
Thank you, Starks. I do. So as Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So what I wanted to do is write an article that is simply giving thanks to the fantasy basketball players who have been killing it for your team. So listeners, this is where I need your help. Now I have pinned this tweet onto my Twitter, just saying which fantasy basketball player are you most thankful for this year? Whether that be a player that you drafted early, that you drafted late, that you picked up on waivers. Who are you most thankful for? I would love to get all of your responses here so that I can write a blog that is reflective on who has been killing it for you guys. So if you guys can help us either by messaging me, by responding to the tweet, by messaging Starks, by messaging LT here, it would be extremely helpful for us and to get that content for you. So that is my clutch shot there. I'm going to pass the ball to LT there. Do you have a clutch shot, brother?
Yeah, my quick clutch shot is just on the YouTube. I'm actually going to be pushing those episodes out right away, even every day. So you can look out for that. If you eventually also, I want to do these live. So we're going to be working in the backgrounds to try to get these live streamed on your favorite platform. So again, let us know what your favorite platform you want to see us on, whether it be a Facebook live stream, whether it be just straight here on YouTube. We can just go live on YouTube and have you guys come in and take listener questions sometimes. So that's definitely our goal here. Also, not to juice the orange on this New Life Fantasy Sage Eyes edition blog, but I am going to be having some. I think I'm going to have a week there between my changing of positions, or I'm going to be off. All and right. So I think that's going to be the time. So look out the first week of December. Look out! I think I'm gonna put a blog in there. I don't know what the title's gonna be yet, but just keep your sage eyes open and watching.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Because I'm sure that everybody wants to see that in particular, right? So, listeners, we love you so much. So the clutch shot I'll take. I do apologize because I don't have everything here because of my system has been down. I'm limited here the next couple weeks, but I should be changing here soon. But I can kind of give you a gut check, or at least gut call on Brandon Clarke. So he's a top 61 player right now, and his averages, and you're probably not going to see me, I'm looking at stuff here. So essentially right now, he's averaging 21 minutes currently right now. He's averaging 12 points a game. Not a 3-point, though. He's almost there, 0.7 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, assists, almost a steal, 1.2 blocks. 64% field goal percentage, and he's only taken 8 attempts this year. He's not pumping up the volume, and his free throw percentage is good, right? And the good thing is, I know I'll say this, those stats is not sexy right now as it is, but what is sexy is he is a top 61 player currently right now off of minutes that he's getting in particular this year. Now, the future is really bright for him, right? This year, it's really tough just because of Jonas Valanciunas and Triple J, but he's going to get minutes, right? And as Memphis, as the season continues to go on, if they lose a lot more games, you can expect him to get more minutes, right, throughout the season. Mm-hmm. So it would be a shock, or I'll say this, it wouldn't be a shock to me, but he could potentially be inside the top 50 this year just because of how things are shaking out in Memphis right now. As you guys know, they were a slower paced team last year. This year, they're a fast paced team. So in that aspect, that opens up the opportunity for more lucky stats or just more stats in particular for him. And the thing is Memphis going to be the middle tier team, or are they going to be something, right? But anyways, kind of into the future, I look at it like this. It's hard to pinpoint, but I want to still give you guys maybe a diagnosis on his outcome. So maybe not this year. He should be potentially a top 50 player next year. And I know I just said he could potentially be it this year. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think, honestly, a realistic figure for him this year will be a top 80, just because of Valanciunas, that is, and Triple J there. Next year, he could be a top 50 player. The ceiling, he could be a top 25 player or better. But that's more of a 3 to 4 year out, right? But he is a good player. And honestly, what's kind of juicing his value right now is his field goal percentage. It's not sustainable, I think, at the 60+ percentage that I mentioned. And honestly, he's a 1-1 threat. He's not averaging a steal yet. He's not averaging a 3 yet. So that could come up, right? He could be that potential block specialist as well, too. So just keep that in mind. He is doing decent this year for what the minutes that he's getting, with the 6 rebounds and 12 points. And this is honestly a limited time. But the thing is about him is I know some fantasy owners were getting kind of irritated with him this year, but I don't know why you are, because he's actually doing pretty good for what he's been given this year. And that's the thing is, although you hear the echo or hype train on players, that you've probably spent a pretty much you paid a premium maybe on him, but you have to set your expectations a little bit lower, just because if you drafted him in a redraft league, then the likelihood of you doing that, you probably are frustrated. But again, at the same time, he's still providing you solid value in return. So again, I will do a little bit better for you guys as far as like the Dynasty outlook on players on each episode to dive a little bit deeper for you. I'm sorry I couldn't give you all the analytics that I would love to give you, because I'd like to actually dig a lot deeper than that. But his outlook looks good for the future, because I think Jonas Valanciunas, although he's a good player, I don't foresee him being there for the next 4 years, right? It just doesn't seem realistic at this point in time. So with that said, you guys, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, OneClosingHero. Give me a follow, and I'll definitely answer a question if you ask me. I'll do it the best that I can at a prompt time, and I will pass you the ball. Jacob, where can I find you out there, brother?
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. You can find me on Twitter at Ain't Done Yet. I'd love for you to follow me. I follow back. Ask me to any questions, and please respond to that Thanksgiving tweet, please. God bless you guys.
All right. LT, where can I find you out there, brother?
Definitely. You can find me at _SageNetwork_, and you can also find me at Twitter at SageNetworkX. Just send me any requests, any updates, or comment on those YouTube videos to give us any updates or anything that you would like to see going forward. And God bless as well.
Yeah, guys, definitely. Just like what LT said, hit that subscribe button, man, and comment below. It definitely helps us out. And everything else of the commercial too. Please keep it up, so that way we can keep pumping up the volume in that aspect. So with that being said, have a good evening, morning, afternoon. Take a ride.